had me at Cello, Cello. You had me at Cello. You had me at Cello. Oh, you had me at Cello. Playing the cello has so many pluses. It never grows old.
Hi, everybody. 5 o'clock on a Friday again. Time for another Cello Chat interview. And I couldn't be more thrilled to have with me this week Scott Cook. I'm very anxious to pick your brain, Scott. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
I'm very
Thanks
glad
for,
to hear.
thanks for asking me to do this.
Oh, I'm super excited. So, to begin things, how did you get started on the cello in the first place, and how did you get to where you are today?
I don't think it's a typical story. I grew up in Nebraska and on a farm, and I really wanted to play something my whole childhood, but my parents were like, we didn't like it, so you won't like it either. I don't know if that's very common, but that's what I heard. So when I got to high school, I was 16. The orchestra teacher was about to lose her job because the orchestra had gotten so small. So she offered her lunch hour to anybody who would sign up and start playing. Well, she wanted me to play the viola, but so there was a lot of people signed up, but after a few weeks, I ended up being the only person.
Oh,
And well, I don't know if she was excited about that, but luckily she was a cellist and she got me off to a really good start. So I had a private lesson every day for a school year.
wow.
So that really held me over because my lessons after that were pretty sporadic until I went to college. So, but you know, her help made a massive difference, and it still influences how I teach today. So that helped. That's how I got started. So I did it on the sly, kind of behind my parents' back, even though they saw me, you know, carrying this thing home. But you know, it was great because, you know, who couldn't afford an hour lesson every day for a school year? So, and she was pretty insistent on her way of doing things. So that helped. Like I said, that helped guide what I do now. I mean, I remember thinking when I was taking those lessons that I really need to remember what she's saying because I might have to do this myself. I don't know why I thought that, and so, but there we are. So.
Nice.
So then after that, I went to Hastings College for 2 years to become, I thought I was going to become a music teacher. I was going to do what Miss Eason did. But after 2 years, they never got me a cello teacher. I was studying with a violinist. And if my technique had been organized, I think that might have been all right, but not for 4 years of, you know, because I really wanted to be a better player. And I was, you know, taking all the ed classes and stuff, which was helpful. But you know, it didn't make my cello playing was at a standstill. Goltemon, the B minor Goltemon concerto is hard. And I think that's number 3. And that's what he said, we're going to start with this. It's like, I don't even know what B minor is. So, yeah, I was stuck. So somehow, and also on the sly, I was practicing when he wasn't around, like Saint-Saëns concerto, and I guess I got it good enough that St. Louis Symphony came to play a concert at the college. And one of my friends insisted that I go and meet John Santambrosia, the principal cellist. And he encouraged me to come, and they were going to be coming back through Nebraska, come and play for them when they were in Lincoln. So I did. I got the courage up and did that. I don't know how I did that. It was probably the encouragement of another friend. And so I sat in a hotel room with most of the cello players from St. Louis Symphony and played and you know, crashed through my Saint-Saëns and some silly etude or something. And somebody took pity on me and took me on. Savelli Schuster said he wanted to, he liked my enthusiasm or something. So I got to go. So so I went to St. Louis Conservatory, which is kind of Washington University, but mostly the conservatory.
Mm-hmm.
And that was spectacular. That experience, because not only did I have a teacher who was super committed to his students, I think I said his name already, Savelli Schuster, but the chamber music situation was also extraordinary. I mean, I got lessons with Michael Tree and Jamie Laredo, Joseph Kallenstein. They were all just skulking around the hallways all the time. And so all those people influenced me during those years too, to always do sort of exceed what I was actually capable of doing.
Nice.
It picked a lot of people out in the old days because I was still working on my technique, still doing it today. And then after that, I became a teaching assistant at the University of Akron and studied with Michael Haber and Steve Shumway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know those guys. So Haber was a Piatigorsky student, and Steve Shumway studied with William Pleath
Mm-hmm.
and Bernard Greenhouse.
Okay.
So a lot of when I watch those master classes, I see a lot of the things that they told me were things that they heard from him and various other sources. My final teacher was John Martin, the principal of the National Symphony.
Okay.
He's super insistent, and also a Piatigorsky student. So I think if there was a strong influence, it was Piatigorsky, because so many of my teachers studied with him. Starker's in there too. So
interesting.
Anyway, but yeah, I played a lot of concerts with Starker, and he would always be like trying to catch my eyes, like, how do you I don't know why he had some sort of outside connection. I played a master class for him in college, but anyway, we always ended up talking about stuff and playing the who do you know game. So who doesn't do that? So that's a lot of my education wrapped up really fast. But like I said, I'm still learning, still trying to organize or keep my technique organized. But there's so many ways to go about that. So, yeah. And I'm always exploring etudes that I don't know.
Yeah.
To try to keep the interest going. A lot of my students go through an etude a week.
Nice. So
when I've never finished. I've never let anybody not everybody's finished the Popper etudes, because I haven't. I wish I could say, I can crash through the first 5 lines of every one, but to say that I'm polished on all 40, I don't. I wish that was my.
40 is a big number.
I know, and then it's Duport. There's all this other great stuff to play. So why commit yourself? He's very left-hand oriented, and I think keeping the balance between the hands is important. So my students, I know I'm getting off topic, but we're always going back and forth between different composers. Popper's number 1, and Duport is definitely number 2. So, nice. And then going on and on from there. So.
And how'd you end up in Milwaukee?
Oh, so I'm in Milwaukee. So after graduate school, it was a similar time to like 2008. I graduated in 84 from grad school. And it was a really bad economic situation. So I was very lucky to find a job at Converse College in Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is next to Greenville, not too far from Charlotte, where it's an extraordinary place where the kids, during that time I was there, there's like from the same high school, the principal bass of the Pittsburgh Symphony. One of my students that I shared plays in Cleveland Orchestra. There's the principal of the Virginia Symphony. They all came from the same high school, and one of the most famous countertenors in the world all came from Spartanburg Dorman High School, and so I taught sort of. I was influenced by those teachers who were there. Pam Telejohn was the person that I know everybody knows her name from, I'm going to say All for Strings, and I'm hoping that's right. And Michael Allen were, they changed the music scene in the whole country just from that little town in South Carolina. So I was lucky to be a part of that sort of little club down there.
Nice.
And so I got a call while I was there from a friend who put me in touch with Mimi Zweig, because the word was that they were looking for a cello teacher here at the String Academy at UWM. So I went on a limb and called up Mimi, and I came for an interview. I guess they couldn't find anybody better. So no, I think they interviewed. They interviewed a lot of people. So I was surprised when I got the call. But so I worked with Mimi for a couple of years, and then she decided to keep her teaching or focus her teaching at Indiana. So she wouldn't be at UWM anymore, at the String Academy. So I was there for 18 years, and the job sort of was String Academy and UWM together. So I taught the undergraduate string courses, and then when they added the master's degree in pedagogy, then I taught those classes in the graduate school. So it was I was at the music department all day long.
Yeah.
So I've always had a large studio there at the String Academy, at least maybe 20, 25 students.
Wow.
So,
yeah, it's large.
But so that's how I ended up in Milwaukee. Okay. And but now I'm the director of the Cello Institute of Milwaukee, and director and the only teacher so far, and that's going great. I think this is maybe the 10th year. So all those years adding up, it's kind of shocking how long I've been doing this. So I have about 20 students there too, and that's going well. The kids are playing great.
Excellent. Well, and you have an interesting mix too of, I know that some places there's both individual lessons and then there's a group lesson, but you seem to, you elevate the group lesson opportunities, right? You make them more a focus.
Well, my groups are end up being performance groups. So we do a lot of technique at the beginning of the group meeting time. Everyone has page 4 of Gutzmacher memorized. So it doesn't matter who you are. If you're playing Haydn D major, you're still playing page 4 because we got to start class somehow.
Yeah.
And so we do a lot of technical things. We do a lot of scales and stuff together. But that I try to make sure that is only like the greeting part of the group lesson, so that it could very well spill over to for the whole time. If I got too nitpicky, we try to do the nitpicky stuff in the lesson and then, play together. And it really does keep the level up.
Excellent.
That way. So that sort of shared burden that everybody experiences through that. And then we do, and you know these guys. I have a group called Chilisti, who have the job of putting a program together. So they do 2, 3, 4 concerts a year of mostly new stuff each time, but as in your own studio, how it's not the same group every year. Maybe depending on somebody breaks their arm, it's a new group suddenly in a week. So this year I'm making them do something that I've never done before. I'm making them audition to be in the group, because I'm going to. It's gotten up to 12 now, 12 students, and the ideal is 8, but I really didn't. For me, because the ideal is 8 because of the Bacchianas. That's what So we're gonna do number 1 this year. We've done 5 several times. We did 5 even with Wisconsin Philharmonic.
All right.
So that was awesome because the kids got to be the soloists with the orchestra. We did another concert similar to that just last year with Festival City Symphony. With we just did our own program in the middle of their program. So
sure,
it was all right. I mean, the kids play great, and they really super rise to the occasion. And you asked about how to keep kids motivated. That keeps them really motivated. It's fun to play together. As we, even as adults, that's, somebody says let's play cello quartets. I'm going to be there.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
True. So yeah. So group. So even the youngest groups, they're performance groups. Mm-hmm. So they learn. Over all these many years, I found ensemble music for all levels. Some of them work, some of them don't. So you can make a duet, a simple duet, into 10 kids can play a duet. Mm-hmm. So and it comes off usually, and the stronger. The little bit older kids, well, that's not always true. I was going to say the stronger kids and a little bit older kids aren't always it doesn't always come out that way, but, everybody helps each other along. Right. It's great for the kids. It's great for the parents who are very excited about it, and it's great for recruiting.
Yeah, right. So, right. Good point.
And recruiting is kind of where I am now. I have a couple of students graduating, but COVID's really changed things. I mean, I used to have a waiting list, and now I'm just like waiting on people to contact me. I'm a little bit short right now, but it'll be all right.
Yeah.
It's never been, scary not having enough, but there is a sort of comfort in having 20, 22, 24 students. Yes. And that things can go easier that way. So tuning the piano doesn't seem like such a massive expense. Mm. You don't have to worry about that.
Nice. No. Well, hey, Scott, I enjoy actually reading different people's teaching philosophies on their websites. And some of them read very, very similar, just kind of slight different word choice and such, but yours doesn't. You have students should be challenged to think critically, understand contexts, engage with other learners, and to reflect and act. And those are some different verbs. Those are some you know, it's like I like that. I just kind of wonder, are there aspects of that that you would elaborate on, why you picked those as the essential things to put in bold?
All right. Well, I should read that again because that was pretty good.
That was very good.
Well, context. What I think about that today when I hear that word, I'm always asking them, when was this piece written, and who's the composer, and what was happening in the world at that time. You really do have to put yourself in that situation. So that kind of context, you know, why are we learning this piece? Sometimes we have to learn this piece because it's on the solo and ensemble list. So that's a whole nother topic that we can't talk about today. I forgot some of the other words
even to reflect and act. I like that. It's kind of a plan, play, judge loop in a way. They're to reflect and act.
Well, so the student comes in and plays even a scale. At the end, they know that the question is going to be, how did that go? Every time. And they know, but I want them to think about how that went, and what they're going to do. You know, we're going to play it again. I'd rather you just play it again and think about what happened and how you're going to make that better. Usually it means slowing down, but and just thinking before you're acting. So it's that concept of sort of fingers before the bow, or that's the concept I talk about all the time. And then going back to my education, the 7th grade science class, my Mrs. Brown had a sign on her wall behind where she gave her lectures. It said, "Put your brain in gear before putting your mouth in motion."
Amen.
So you just replace bow with mouth with bow, and then you've got basically what I talk about.
Nice.
So
that's great. You know, there's I'm sure you do too, but it's like I have on my computer any number of incomplete ideas for articles or papers, and one of them is kind of about this idea of the need for a student to have expectations before doing something, rather than do it and find out what you get.
Right.
You know, we have to have that loop going of, oh, this isn't quite going to be the way I want it, knowing it before the fact and doing something about it before those sounds have gotten into the ears of the audience.
Well, you know, going back to warming up, I was talking about Gutzmacher. In my philosophy, most of technique is in the Foillard book, or in Starker's shifting exercises, or those serial exercises. So if they see that the technique that's in their piece is already in their hands because they've been doing it as a warm-up since the beginning of their time playing the cello, then you're free to make the music out of it if the technical aspect is already. You don't have to make the technique, put the technique in your body at the time that you're learning the piece. You've already learned all the technique. You're just learning a new piece that involves those techniques that you already have.
Yeah.
That's why I should have brought one of the practice books. They all have it's called a cookbook, Cellist Cookbook. And one of my students came up with that a long time ago. It's like, she kept saying, "Where's your cookbook?" It's like, what are you talking about? Oh, that's my name. So at the top is warm up. So the very first thing you're supposed to do is, and I write down do these lines of, do 2 lines of 4 chapters of Foyard this week. I don't care which 4, but make them great. And then the next category is scales. So I don't think of scales as warm-ups. I feel like they need to warm up to play scales well. So I was going to say in the warm-up part, it lists all their names, Starker and Foyard and Grützmacher and the dreaded Kosman and so on. And so I'll just there's some really excellent things that I borrowed from one of my friends that from a teacher from Michigan. I'll credit Anthony Elliott. I found out, I just have 1 page from his warm-up book. It's awesome. And it's just octave shifts. Mm-hmm. And, it's things that, you might invent on your own, but it's sitting there written out and it's perfect. Great. So if you're playing Schumann concerto, there's that shift right there. You've already played it. So I was saying, warm up scales, the next category is the etude. And whether I hear it every week or not, the etude is still there. So you're playing some etude, whether or not you have one assigned. If I didn't listen to it last week, we've all been there too. Oh, you didn't talk about it last week, so I didn't practice it. Well, it didn't go away, did it? Is it done? No. So, and then the piece comes next, the piece that the working on piece, and then the last thing is your group music or something that you're reviewing, or something that you asked about help with for youth orchestra or something. That's in the last category. So you want to go down the list in pretty much in order each time. The lesson may not work out that way, but the practice, I want them to practice in that way. And it's nice that the music goes on the stand in that order too, but we've all done that before too. I put the piece I want to play on the front. Yeah. So
and so then do you have, can you elaborate a bit on this idea of already having the technique in place before they get to that spot in the piece? Does that inform the way you teach them to go about practicing, woodshedding the tricky spots?
Well, I wish I could think of a great example, but one of the kids is playing Haydn D major right now. And if he gets stuck in a spot, which hasn't happened, you kind of learn the first movement in a week, and that didn't happen to me. But I credit, that he's done the homework in the warm-up. So, but if we get stuck and let's say it's an octave shift, I can just say let's do. They mostly have these memorized, but let's do that last line of that Elliott page that you have, and or the Starker, page 33, the organized method of cello playing. They immediately relax when they play those, and then if they can just sort of transfer that experience into the piece and just stop and treat it as as an exercise. Everything can be broken down into an exercise, each piece of music. Trick is taking it from the exercise stage to the musical stage, but that's another story too. So Beethoven A major sonata has on the second page has that where it's all string crossings, and that's page 5 of Grützmacher. And they started playing that in book 1 in group. So if we go back and just slowly do that, and then it's already in their hands. Yeah. They just have to associate. So, and the body associates right away. It's the brain that gets in the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it looks hard on the page, so so I'm going to crash through it, and I've done it. So I know exactly what my brain does when I see something hard. It's like I'll either do it tomorrow, or I'll just do it kind of halfway. I won't. But I try not to do that. I try not to let anybody know I do that, but I just did.
That's hilarious. That's funny. Hey, so Scott, how did you get started with your numerous experiences playing non-classical music on the cello?
Well, when I first got out of grad school, or actually in grad school, I started playing the Broadway, the national tours.
Okay.
My first show was with Carol Burnett, the Once Upon a Mattress.
Okay.
Like, wow, I've really made it. I'm going to do this forever. But, those shows don't come around all the time. You can't really depend on that. So I do those here in town still. So, and it's fun. It's terrifying and fun at the same time. Terrifying in that you're the only one and you're mic'd to the hilt. So, so your technique has to be organized and your intonation has to be impeccable. But playing in a band, one of my very good friends started a band, and about 10 years ago, we played many years at the Skylight at the Opera here in Milwaukee, and I know he'd been wanting to do it for a long time, and then he started making arrangements for electric string quartet. So that the band I play in is a electric string quartet, drummer, and the original lead singer from Cheap Trick. Over the years, we polished a lot. Because at first, none of us. Well, Joe knew what he was doing. Everybody else had to just sort of figure out as we went along. But I don't know. I haven't counted lately, but it's maybe 120 songs or something that I had to. No, I don't know that many. I don't know if I can sit down and play, 120 sonatas. I really learned by doing that. I didn't grow up listening to the songs that we play. I still don't listen to them. I hear them on the radio, and it's like, that sounds really familiar, and then I'll get hit. It's like we just played it last night. But they follow a certain formula. It's all the same cello technique. Mm-hmm. Although I was playing something, I don't remember what it was, for one of my students, and I was asking him to make his pizzicatos longer. Mm. So I figured out a way to really connect my pizzicato sounds from one note to the next that he thought was really weird. The dad's like, that sounds weird. I'm like, well, I kind of like it. But so I don't know if they cross over or not, but my pizzicato has certainly gotten a lot better, and my rhythm has gotten a lot better. Just the, like, sight reading rhythm, because of all those crazy things that happen in those pieces, which luckily they just happen over and over again. If I ever have to play Billie Jean again, I will cry. Why would he put it in E major? And play the same thing over and over. That's hard work. So,
well, now, do you find some students for whom just the entirety of the classical repertoire doesn't grab them like some of the either popular music or rock music or things like that? In other words, do you use your kind of non-classical chops sometimes in lessons in various ways?
I think no. I wish I could say yes, but I think I attract a very kind of serious kind of population of students who don't listen to pop music. What they do, it's not. It's certainly something I don't recognize. Well, I don't know why I didn't think of this before. So one of my students for a long time is Monique Ross. She's in a group called Sister Strings.
Oh, yes, yes.
And yeah, so I've known those two girls or ladies since they were very small.
Ah.
And yeah, telling them to use their indoor voice. And yeah, so Monique is one of my students, and yeah, I show my kids like them playing on Saturday Night Live, and I think they were on Jimmy Kimmel just this year. So they moved to Nashville to do that full time. So so I guess I do, but but she learned how to do all that kind of like I did, I suppose. Just learning by doing.
Yeah.
And but it has turned out to be, the teaching has turned out to have students that do have that interest. But I think I just got them strong enough technically that they could do whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I think I think for me that's my goal. It's like if you can do anything if you can play your instrument.
I love that.
So yeah, so that's that. I went to the beer garden yesterday with one of my students he just graduated from Yale a couple of years ago, and he's moving to Vancouver to play cello. He's going to simultaneously play in the symphony and get a an artist diploma. So, and I just got a text from a parent the other day with a picture of a bunch of music that I guess I just given to the student. She's like, well, she's moving to Amsterdam to play, so do you want this stuff back? It's like, no, she probably doesn't want it either. It was a bunch of those Leonard Rose orchestral excerpt books. It's got like two lines of each piece. It's like, it was a good idea. It was a good idea, but so yeah. So I don't know how I got to that. I go on tangents a lot when I'm teaching too.
No, it makes sense though, because it's not unique to cello. I think it's true of a lot of other skills and sports and such, that if you get all the fundamentals in solid, reliable shape, then experience is the other teacher,
Right. Well, we do, we were talking about the kids have group lessons every week. So I'll have 3 groups in the fall, but they each meet for an hour and a half, and they play for each other. It's not just during that time is masterclass time. And I'm incredibly fortunate that my good friend Stephanie Jacob is our pianist, and it's great because she doesn't give them an inch in the rehearsal. In the performance, she'll give them a mile, but so it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. But so they get a chance to have the experience of performing way before the performance comes that matters. So they have a performance in class they can have performance in class every week. One of the students that Kartik,
Yes.
auditioned and became as the principal of the National Youth Orchestra twice, and I think it really helped, even though he tortured all of us by playing. And if he hears this, he'll laugh. Hopefully, he played First Movement of Dvorak for months, every week in class. The poor pianist. They know that they've got that piece memorized by now, but that helped. You know, when it came time to do that audition, that was your concerto should be the easiest part. The thing hard about playing an audition is getting the excerpts the way the committee wants to hear it. So yeah, that's the experience that the kids get through there. And then we also have master classes fairly regularly. So which is really fun. You should do. It's your turn.
All right. Oh,
okay. Let's do it. Mindy Park, that came last fall. We were friends in Austria. So we met there, and so it's really great that she's just up the road too.
Yeah. Right.
So, and Michael Haber came my first year at the institute, so to get things sort of started. So that's how they sort of get the real world experience. And we have an association also with the Early Music Now here in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of Baroque master classes.
Great.
And we do special projects from at least one special project a year. This year was all Vivaldi. So all the kids learned a piece by Vivaldi, either concerto or sonata or some sort of an arrangement for the littlest kids. But everybody did something. And I hired some friends, so we had a professional orchestra to play with the kids who play concertos. And that was great. And I think we've done that 3 times now.
Wow.
Vivaldi, after I bought all those scores, I had to use them. Right? So, and then we did an all Popper concert.
Wow.
And thanks to Stephanie Jacob, like I said before, 25 Popper pieces that she. So it started with those little etudes that the duet etudes, and I think the concert ended with Elfintons. So, and it wasn't me playing it. It was a kid I just saw yesterday at the beer garden who's going off to Vancouver. So,
all right.
So
great. Yeah. That's tremendous. Okay, so what's coming down the pike for 2023 yet?
So next week is supposed to be cello boot camp, but we'll see.
Okay.
If I need to get enough students. It's mostly to get the each listi, give them a head start to the year, and after that, what was I gonna? Oh, we're doing first time a concerto competition. So I'm just opening it to whoever. It has to be a cello concerto, but and I'm gonna publish a list of the pieces because it's going to be accompanied by I cellisti. So it has to be pieces that have cello accompaniments. And there are a lot. I found a ton.
Yeah.
I really don't want to play Silent Woods. That's really hard, a very hard accompaniment part. The solo is like a breeze in comparison with the cello arrangement. So that's I wrote it all out. I just haven't published it yet. The concerto competition stuff. What else is coming up? I'm starting a class. So I've only heard through the grapevine, through my students' parents, that they're cutting the string program, the contact time with the elementary school students in the neighborhood near where I am in Shorewood, in Whitefish Bay. So I'm offering just a group cello class. So it's not a lesson, but it's like a group lesson for beginners, for like students that have been in either just starting at school or have had 1 or 2 years of school experience. So I've been thinking about doing that for a while, but I think the need is there now, more there now. So I'm devoting an hour on Monday afternoons to this, and hopefully I'll get some interest, because it's a big commitment to start lessons. If you're not sure, I think this is the perfect way to do it. And what the rumor is that they were down to half an hour a week. You can't learn how to play the cello in a half an hour. So, because that leaves I don't know how many hours in the week that leaves to make up stuff on your own. So an hour of cello specific instruction, I think, would be great for everybody involved. So a great way to build the studio too, I think. So,
best of luck. That sounds like a great idea.
I think it should work out. I wrote down some of the, what else? Yeah, we have a lot of recitals, so which I need to be much more on top of posting, so I finally did make some posters that I put on Facebook, and I finally figured out how to do it better than I was doing it before. So yeah, so that's what's coming up for the studio for myself. It's been a long time since I gave a recital, so I think I better do that while I still can. So I'm going to plan to do that this year. So
what's on your wish list?
I want to do the Hurlstone Sonata again.
Okay, I don't know that I'm familiar with that.
It's an awesome piece from the turn of the century.
Okay.
Last century. And it's beautiful. It's fun to play. It's kind of like Brahms and like what's his name? Benjamin Britten. No, they're the wrong. Who am I thinking? Not that guy at all. It's like Brahms and
The Barber?
No, it's not that serious of a piece.
Okay.
It's I can't the guy who wrote Jamaican Rumba. That's the Benjamin. That's the name. I think it's his last name. It's kind of like that. It's just it's I don't know if it was ever popular, but I came across a recording of it, and I listened to it 1,000 times. It's like, wow. This is fun to listen to, fun to play. The trick is getting somebody to learn a new cello sonata. I would love to do, Saint-Saëns, but it's asking a lot of the pianists. It's like Rachmaninoff or a whole host of other sonatas. I'm not going to play Franck. I've done Franck. I don't ever have to play that again.
There are a lot of cello sonatas where the piano part is.
Yeah, that just did me. And that my teacher, I played it for my junior recital at conservatory, and he's like, "You don't want to play that," but I do, and that's a big story too. So it was all right. I don't think there are any recordings existing from prehistoric times like that. So
that's funny.
So I don't know the opera doesn't. I don't know what the schedule is going to be. So a lot of band stuff. We just got something else to do Saturday night. So that doesn't usually happen like 2 days before that you have a new thing come up with stuff like that. So
yeah, it's kind of been interesting as we come out of COVID, the way things are getting back to full steam. It's erratic.
Well, it'd be nice if I don't know when this was. After this was during the very end of the pandemic. When I played with the Eagles, I know that because it was a real ordeal to get through the checkpoint to check all your documents, and I think they did a test and everything. If more things like that happened, or who was it? The Who that I played with. So I mean the bands helped me, I think, do that crossover to those sort of national acts as well. So those are kind of fun because it's a completely different audience. And for years and years, I played with a Trans-Siberian Orchestra, but I don't have quite the look for that anymore. I never did. And but I still play a lot with Mannheim Steamroller. That's been maybe 25 years I've done that show. So I do a lot of those things that I kind of forget that I've done, in the middle of when we're talking about stuff like this. So yeah, takes a lot of things to make all this happen.
Yeah. Well, or another way to put it is, it's if you stay just kind of flexible and open-minded, any number of paths and opportunities can come along and open up, and it can be really fun.
Yeah. I mean, like it goes all the way back to, we're talking about technique. If you've got the technique and you make a good sound and you play in tune, you're going to get a call.
Nice.
I think so.
Yeah, I think.
I hope it keeps working out that way. Maybe a couple of years left to play, so I hope.
Well, Scott, thanks so much. This is just a whole. I knew every bit as fun as I was thinking it would be. Hear your thoughts on all these things.
Well, thanks for asking me to do this. It's really fun.
Great, excellent. And all of you out there, happy practicing all week long. We'll see you this time next week.
Right, practice your 4-yard.
Yes.
All right. Thanks a lot, then.
Thank you.
Bye.
You had me at Cello.